Alright, welcome to Real Estate Definitions. This one we're going to be talking about debt service coverage ratio. Formula for that is net operating income divided by annual debt amount equals your debt service coverage ratio. Lenders are typically looking for a 1.25. So, I'm going to show you an example from a spreadsheet of a deal I got a couple weeks ago. And here are the numbers here. So this is your NOI on this deal, 1.565 million. This was your T12 or your trailing 12. That's also just an income statement, profit and loss statement, all the same thing. So the actual numbers on this NOI was 1.565 million. Okay, principal and interest at the debt they're getting would be 1.138 million. So if you divide this NOI divided by your annual debt amount, how much you're paying to the lender, equals 1.37. But in this deal, they've got 5 years of interest only. So what that does is it reduces this annual debt amount. They're paying less to the lender, but they're also not paying your principal pay down. So it's a trade-off, but here's what happens with that. So since this number is lower, significantly lower, $675,000, your debt service coverage ratio goes way up. So 1.533 million divided by 675 equals 2.27%, or not percent, but 2.27. And so in your underwriting though, all the lenders do, they underwrite on this principal and interest. So that's how they're doing it. As far as the safety thing, interest only can go away. Oftentimes it's 2 or 3 years. So if that goes away, this is kind of what you're stuck with. So a lot of times people are underwriting, at least in a worst case scenario, for this 1.37% debt coverage ratio. So let's check out the example. Here are the financials. And right here you'll see DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. You'll also see it often as just debt coverage ratio, DSCR. They're both the same thing. So here's an example we talked about. The actuals, so the trailing 12 months, what happened in the last 12 months, income statement, your net operating income was 1.565 million. Okay, you divide that by your annual debt service amount. So how much you're paying to the lender again, 1.138, and that comes out to your debt service coverage ratio of 1.37. Again, lenders are looking for a 1.25. Now we look at projected year one. So they switch some things in here, and so it gets a different, which is just, take over and they're going to implement a value add. But in this year one, they're projecting 1,533,000 as your NOI. But the main difference on here is your debt amount changes drastically because of that interest only. So here it is, the 675,000. Bumps it up to a 2.27 debt service coverage ratio. So it's just a formula, and it kind of projects like a safety margin. So it's like similar to something like a break-even point. But it's just a safety margin ratio for lenders to use and for investors to understand how much margin of safety there is.